As you heard from John earlier, Crown transformation is moving on apace. I know it's not had a massive impact in this area yet, but it will as those things start to happen as it moves through. I think it's important. I mean, the Crown network is really, really important. It's the testing bed, if you like, of the business. It's where we will want to trial new ideas. It's where we do most of our launches. It's where you would expect it to be a far greater expertise than in other parts of the network. But it is only part of the post office network. And actually, if we're really honest with each other, it's a pretty small part. It's only 3% of the overall post office network. So it's important, although we all work in the Crown network, and we all think it's the most important part, well, it is the most important part, but it's only a small part. But it's important that we remember that there are 11,500 other post office branches. So I want to give you an overview of where we are in terms of modernising those branches. We're 2 years into network transformation. There's Crown transformation, which is us, and there's network transformation. We're 2 years into network transformation, and so far we've transformed 1,600 branches into a combination of main branches and locals. No branches have closed. This is the same when we talk about Crown transformation and franchising. The important thing to remember is that no branches have closed. The network is the most stable it's been for 20 years. So there's no closures under part of the network transformation. But we have to make sure that like the Crown network, the agency network is viable and it's sustainable. You've heard a lot talked about the fact that the government require the Crown network to be at break even by March next year. Equally pressing is a government need for us to reduce substantially the subsidy that the agency network gets as well. The subsidy the post office receives is meant to be to run the very small rural branches that probably otherwise wouldn't exist. It's not to subsidise any other part of the business. So there's a drive for Paula and Exco to reduce the subsidy that the business receives way below what it is now. But with a very wide range of branches, those of you that have done jobs outside of the Crown network will know that agency branches range from branches that were Crowns at one point and are therefore large and very busy, down to small branches that may only open 2 or 3 half days a week. So if you look at this branch is in Old Road in Chorley. This is a main branch. I'll have to read these, I can never remember these numbers. There will ultimately be around 3,200 of these branches. They tend to be the larger branches. They tend to be in busy conurbations. They're either in towns or on the periphery of towns, and they serve large numbers of customers like the Crown offices do. They retain a dedicated post office area, which may be open plan, like this one is, or it may be the old fortress position. It depends on the type of area that they're in. But there's also a post office serving point on a retail counter away from the main post office counter, so you get 2 bites of the cherry if you like. And they offer extended opening hours. Very often these branches are open from early in the morning to late in the evening. And the post office, because there is the option to have post office services away from the main counter, we can offer post office services outside of core hours. And that's a really important thing. These branches, like Crowns, have a strong focus on what we class as focus products. So they will have a financial services offering in some way. It may be that they share a financial specialist around a number of branches. It may be they share a financial specialist with the Crown office. So if, for example, we have a Crown office that we want to put a financial specialist in, but it's not really a 5 or 6 day a week role, we might have a financial specialist who would spend a day or 2 days in an agency. It may be actually that the sub-postmaster makes appointments for a customer to meet a financial specialist in a Crown branch, and we pay the sub-postmaster for the lead, but the customer is seen in the branch. This is at very early days. This is just a taste of what we might be looking to do and how we might make it work. And some of the early thinking is being used in the W.H. Smith branches that have recently opened as a result of some of the franchises from the 70 Crowns that John touched on earlier. So there's a lot we can do with these branches. These are big branches in big towns and cities, and they are, to all intents and purposes, just like Crowns in terms of what they do. We've then got around another 4,800 branches which are locals. These will be a combination of smaller villages or towns, or in suburban areas, not necessarily part of big towns and cities. There's around 4,800 of these, and what we're trying to do here is to integrate the post office into a vibrant and successful, already existing retail business. Again, you very often find in these that the branch hours are, or the retail business hours are much more extensive than a post office would normally open. But because this is integrated into the retail area, you get a situation here where all the time the branch, the shop, or the convenience store or the newsagent is open, so's the post office. So you can get post office services in a lot of these branches from 5 in the morning, if the newsagents, for example, through to 10 o'clock at night, and Saturday and Sunday. So it's really changing the way we get our customers, or our customers can actually do business with us. That's another one. That's in Mortlake. Some of you have no idea where Mortlake is, other than it's London. But it's a similar thing. Quite an extensive convenience store. God, can't stop doing that. But a small post office that fits there. I mean, I don't know Mortlake at all. I'm sure some of you do. I don't know if it's a particularly well-populated area, but there'll be bigger offices around. This will be a small local office somewhere in the suburbs. But you can see what's happened is the post office has been down here at some point. You can see this has all been extended. You've still got all the post office services in that branch there, and that's open, as I say, it'll be open from very early in the morning, very late at night, Saturday and Sunday. And then we've got community post offices, and there's about 3,500 of these. These are very often referred to as the rural network. These are where there is no other retailer in the village. Very often you'll hear it referred to as the last shop in the village. And it's important that we allow sub-postmasters to invest in their businesses, to maintain post office services, but also to maintain the business that they run. Well, we've now got 1,040 main branches and 610 local branches. Customer satisfaction is incredibly strong. It's very strong in the Crown transformation, over 80%. It's 90% in the mains and the locals, largely driven by the extended opening hours that customers can access. And if you look at that, 39,750, or look at that even, 39,750 additional hours have gone into these branches, just into those 1,650 branches. There's 39,000 additional hours have gone in since we started doing this piece of work. So it's fantastic for customers, but it puts pressure on the Crown network because we don't open extended hours. We have our core opening hours and we don't really vary from that. However, as we've moved through transformations, those of you that have been to previous Vision events have heard me talk about where we've transformed branches, like we moved Milton Keynes branch, for example, we moved Derby branch, Sheffield branch relocated. In those branches, we have looked at whether we can extend the opening hours in those branches to more match the customer traffic. Birmingham was a great example where it was the staff themselves that felt the branch needed to open later in the day because they knew that they lost trade. And they also had a manic last hour and a half in the branch, trying to cut as everyone was coming in towards the end of the day. So they're now open till 6:30 every day. Not Saturday, by the way, sorry, but every day of the week they open till 6:30. That was the staff's idea. That's what the staff felt they needed to do to provide a better service for customers. So we need to look all the time in the Crown network at what our opening hours ought to be, because we need to make sure that we match our availability to when customers want to do business with us.